In this video, we will create the design for a child's toy called a Tinker Block. It looks something like this. The Tinker Block has 9 holes that go all the way through, with 12 holes around the perimeter, only a ½ inch deep. Once we get logged in, we then will see something like this. The Create button has a drop-down. Click on the Create button and then select Document. The document dialog then appears. We enter into the dialog the name of our project, which is Tinker Block 3x3. Click Create and the work area appears. Since the top plane is the only one we will be working on, we can hide both the right and the front planes. To view our work area in a straight-on view, we use the right-click menu and select View Normal To. Then we start our sketch. Click on the top plane to select it, and then we add a rectangle as the first step in creating our Tinker Block. The rectangle we're going to select is the center point rectangle. We go to the center of the plane and pull a rectangle. What size does this rectangle need to be? Well, from the diagram, it appears that it needs to be 3 inches by 3 inches. So we'll select the Dimension tool, click on the side, drag outward, and then enter 3. Click on the top, drag out, and enter 3 again. Now we have our 3x3 rectangle, and we can close that sketch. Next, we need to give our rectangle some thickness, so we use the Extrude tool. We click on Extrude, and then we have to say what surface we want to extrude. So we click on the rectangle. It's picked it up as the face of sketch 1. We also need to enter the depth of the extrude. From the diagram, it appears that it is 1 inch. We enter 1 inch and check the green box. We have created our extrude. We then use View Normal To prepare for our next step. We're going to bring up our first sketch and add some things to it. In fact, we're going to place the points that will represent where we're going to put each hole in our Tinker Block. To do so, we will need to know exactly where to put them. Looks like a ½ inch, followed by an inch, followed by a ½ inch, and going side to side, a similar set of numbers. ½ inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, and ½ inch again. We'll use the Dimension tool to place our points exactly where they belong, a ½ inch from the top and a ½ inch from the side. We'll then get another point. We'll place this point 1 inch below the first point and a ½ inch from the left side. Notice the little yellow lines that appear. These help us by saying exactly what is in line with the center point and in line with our first point. Therefore, we get exactly a ½ inch from the left and an inch from the center point. Now we need a third point. This third point we can keep vertically correct, but we will also have to set it the correct distance from the bottom. Again, a ½ inch. With those 3 points set in place, we can then use this special tool, the Linear Pattern tool. We select those 3 points, and the Linear Pattern tool duplicates those 3 points along a horizontal line. Click the mouse button to accept it, and check the green box. We'll need a new sketch to begin placing the points around the perimeter of our block. We choose a side and select it as the plane for sketch 2. We can then go through a similar process that we did earlier. We again select a point and put it on our sketch. Onshape helps us find the vertical center point. To verify that we have the right location, let's use the Dimension tool and recheck where we've put our point. Looks good. Now, let's also place our point exactly 1/2 inch from the left side. Using the Onshape Helper feature, we can find the point that is 1 inch from our first point and exactly 1/2 inch up from the bottom. With these 2 points in place, we can again use the linear pattern feature, but this time we only need to add 2 dots from the left, so we change the 3 to a 2, and we have completed the work on this side. We still have 3 sides, so we have to do 3 additional sketches, 1 for each plane where we will be adding points. We begin the process exactly like we did before. We select a point, we use the linear pattern tool, and move through each side doing the same steps. As we finish our last of the 4 sides, we're then ready to move on to do the actual holes. We use the hole tool to put the holes in exactly the places where we put the points. We set the size of the hole at 1/4 inch, 0.25, and the depth of the hole, in this case we want them to go all the way through. The thickness of our block is 1 inch, so we set it to 1 inch. We then click on each point, and each point then becomes a hole. We walk through the entire 9 holes and see how they're added to the dialog. This means that they could be individually changed, removed, or we can continue to add. Because the holes on the side faces are not going to go all the way through and are going to be set at 1/2 inch, we bring up the hole tool again and do a different set of holes. The perimeter holes, again, are still 1/4 inch, and they are 1/2 inch deep. Notice as these are being placed that we do not need to remain on the same face. We are simply placing these based on where points exist, rather than on a specific face. Therefore, we can turn our block, click on some more of the points, and eventually we can set all 12 of these perimeter points using the same hole tool dialog. Our last step will be to fillet the edges or round them. How many edges do we round? Well, let's see. It appears on this diagram that every edge is rounded. But how round do we make them? Based on this image, it looks like 1/4 inch. Looking at our fillet dialog, it appears that we're already set to a radius of 0.25 or 1/4 inch. Therefore, each corner that we select, it will become a 1/4 inch fillet. Even the sides, the short corners, the long corners, it matters not, and they can all be done on the same dialog. With that, our design is finished. We are prepared to create a drawing or export a file that can be sliced in preparation to do 3D printing. Name your file, make sure it's output as an STL file, that it's going to go to your downloads directory and export. With that, you are ready to do 3D printing.